Hey y'all, welcome back to this week's episode of AMA Friday with Amy Miller, Recruiting in Yoga Pants. So this week we're going to talk up levels and down levels. What is she talking about? I'm going to explain it all. So let's start with a quick caveat in case you're new to the channel or you have forgotten. I'm going to share with you my perspective on how this particular kind of hiring happens and what can lead to an up-level or down-level decision. This is not meant, none of my content is meant to be a universal, this is how it works everywhere. I have no idea. The mileage at your favorite company may vary greatly. I don't know. Hopefully, I'm giving you enough insights, and that is the purpose and goal of this channel, y'all. I want to give y'all enough information and enough insight so that you have not only a good understanding of how hiring happens, but also to help you ask the right questions. Okay? So hang out till the end of the video. I promise I'm going to give y'all a question or two that you can ask the recruiters in your life to see if this whole up-level, down-level thing might apply to you. Again, different companies are going to look at this differently. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. All right. So what even is an up-level or down-level decision? So again, depending on the organization, depending on how they're structured, the maturity of, the HR team and like the structure and everything around hiring, this may or may not exist at the places you want to work. But most mid-sized to larger companies with a well-established organization will probably have something called a level or career stage or something like that. And when a role is opened, so I've got a video on this too, how do roles get opened? We are identifying at that very early stage, what do we think is the scope of this work? I'm gonna give you an example. Okay, I want to open a new engineering manager role at Google. All right, cool. So I've got a few levels there I can choose from. I can have a level 5 manager, which is like at least when I was there, our most junior manager, probably leading a very small team, just getting into people management. A level 6 manager, that's kind of that mid-level, mid-career type role. 6 can be a very big, broad level in big tech if they use that kind of leveling. A level 7 is often what we would consider a senior manager. That typically means they're managing other managers. Okay, so an L5, pretty hands-on, early people management type experience. Level 6, again, kind of big, broad, a lot of folks in there. Level 7, this is where higher level, more strategic, way less hands-on probably, and then actually managing those 5s and 6s. So you can imagine, as a recruiter who's working with the hiring manager to open a role, we're going to ask those questions. What's the scope of the work? Are they going to manage other managers? Are they leading an org of a certain size? Are they responsible for a massive, remit, whatever it might be? So we have those conversations and we determine this is the right level. I need somebody who can just, an established people manager who can come in. They're still going to code maybe 20, 30% of the time, but a lot of their time is spent in like code reviews or meetings or strategy sessions, and they're fully responsible for, people management, all the things that come with that. Cool. We're opening an L6 EM, engineering manager. Got you. You can apply this to any field. It could be a accountant, could be a marketing manager. I'm just using engineering management because it's what I know. Okay. Insert title, whatever you want. So we've determined the scope. We now go through the interview process and we are asking questions and we're gathering data based on this level 6 EM scope that we've identified. One of two outcomes, right? It's either a yes or a no, right? If we get a non-inclined vote, and I have another video I'll link to. There'll be a lot of links here, y'all. Check them out, okay? I made them all for you. But one of there's two main reasons that someone is not inclined, typically, variations of these reasons, but these are kind of the two big buckets I've identified in 26 years. One, we didn't get enough data. Two, the data we got sent us in a different direction. So if we didn't get enough data, we just, there's not enough here to say there's a good fit, or we're missing context, whatever. Not going to belabor all that. Watch the other video for more on that. It's a no, we're moving on. Sometimes the data takes us in a different direction. That could mean, hey, this person's really not an engineer. They'd be a killer PM. You want to see if they're interested in program management. Might have an opening, might want to share it with that team, what have you. Amazing. Data takes us there. That's the direction we go. That's the conversation I have with the candidate as well. Perfect. Sometimes the data says, person's a good manager, definitely could lead a team of engineers, but not at L6. This person maybe has slightly lower scope. They're a little bit more hands-on. They're writing a lot more code. They maybe haven't had as much of the people management highs and lows. This actually happened to me once. This was actually at Google, as a matter of fact. I had an engineering manager that we desperately tried to get on board, and we got blocked by leadership because the person had never had to fire someone. Essentially, there's more to the story, but it really revolved around this person had inherited a team. They were leading that team for a couple years. The team was very stable. There weren't any real risks. They didn't have to pip anybody. They didn't have to deal with any bad behaviors. It was just a good, stable team they'd managed for a couple of years. They were missing that extra, the hard parts of people management, right? They hadn't experienced that. So senior leadership was like, the scope isn't there. We can't prove that this person has effectively done that part of management. So didn't get to make the hire. It was super, super disappointing. Anyway, that's what I mean. The data will sometimes tell us hey, this person's actually great, but not at this level. We are, thinking this person comes in at an L5 manager instead of an L6 manager. They're better suited for that. They'd be set up for success at that lower level. Wah, wah. Not a conversation candidates want to hear. I have successfully hired many a down level in my time, though, I will tell you. Sometimes you just need that foot in the door, right? No shame in that. So if that's the feedback you get and you're still getting an offer, at least hear them out, look at the numbers, see if it might be worth it. I don't know. You have to decide that for yourself. So that's the down level piece. Now, what about an up level? This is where we go, holy smokes. This person was exceptional across the board. They nailed every single thing we asked them. They went above and beyond our expectations. Whoa. This person actually could operate at an L7 senior manager role, or whatever your company calls it. I love this. This is my favorite problem to solve. Because if I get the green light to make you an offer at a higher level, remember those comp discussions we've been having all along? Yeah, that just went up. I'm going to give you more money than you thought. I live for that stuff, y'all. It makes me so happy. So that does happen. I will say I see a lot more down levels than I do up levels, but I absolutely do see up levels. Now here's the wrinkle. Just because we have decided that someone can operate at one of those levels, we now have to decide, can we move the role scope? If we've said we need someone to come and solve this particular problem, can we rewrite that? Can we redefine it? Can we change it? Can we modify the team somehow to where we can justify going up or going down? A lot of times we can. A lot of times it's one of those things where, hey, we'd rather take a chance on a great potential hire and we'll make it work. Unfortunately, and this might be the majority, if I'm being honest, I'd have to kind of sit and think about it. A lot of times we don't have the option to change the scope of the role. We have decided, you know what, it really needs to be this. This is what the business needs. This is where the team's at. This is absolutely what's going to make us more successful or solve whatever problem we're trying to solve with this open role. We cannot change the scope. That means I have to say no. Now, I will say, in the case of an up-level decision, we will still, in most cases that I've seen anyway, we're still going to make the offer. So this kind of gets into that like overqualified territory, right? Like, oh, this person's actually operating above the scope of this role and like could be, the next level up. I'm still going to make the offer. I'm still going to work with the team and be like, look, we think you're amazing. You nailed the interview. We're going to make the best possible offer we can because you're clearly going to be a top performer based on everything we know about you so far, but it is going to be an offer at this level. Candidate can decide, right? And if I've done my due diligence, you already know what the offer is going to possibly look like. We've already had the comp discussions, all those things. So it shouldn't be a surprise, but if there is a possibility of us going a level up, you best believe I'm going to ask and ask again and ask one more time just to be sure. Can we possibly up the scope of this role for this great person? So that's how that works. Okay, so I'm over time here, but real quick, I want to give you a couple of things that you can ask your recruiter about just to make sure that you understand what you're up against and what the options might be. So first of all, hey recruiter, I'd like to better understand the scope of this role. I want to make sure I'm clear on the expectations, the day-to-day, blah, 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 whatever. Once you get that, once you have a good understanding of that, is there a possibility that the feedback could indicate that I'm operating at a higher or lower level than this particular scope? Oh, interesting question. Now, I don't know how a recruiter will respond to that question. I'd like to think most of them would be like, great question. Let me find out. Or, you know what? I'm glad you asked. I can confirm that they're absolutely dead set on this specific level. Alrighty. Then you know, right? Now you know what you're up against. So I think that's a really good input from the recruiter if there is flexibility to go up or down, because we don't know where the feedback's going to take us yet. So knowing ahead of time, is there flexibility based on my performance in the interview to go up or down? Cool. Maybe I want to shoot high. Maybe I won't feel so bad if I come in lower because I know there's an opportunity to down level. If the recruiter comes back and says, you know what, they've absolutely scoped this appropriately, they're desperately looking for that mid-level L6 manager, whatever it might be, that's where we need to hire. Awesome. How do I prove that I fit that? So that gets into like the interview prep and understanding what is the problem this business is trying to solve, what does good look like, those kinds of things. So being able to really dig in with the recruiter and understanding the exact scope and the expectations of the hiring team is great. And also understanding, if not this exact role, exact level, exact moment in time, what does make sense? What does the feedback tell you about me and my potential future on a different team, in a different role, at a different level? All right. I hope that helps, y'all. I tried to squeeze a lot into just a few minutes and I still managed to go over several minutes. But I did want to just give you, again, some food for thought, some things that you can ask the recruiter. So let me know down below, are there other questions on this topic? Is there something we've not covered that would be helpful for you? I'm happy to address it in the comments or a future video. So let me know down below. And as always, see you next week.